Hey guys, it's me Erica, and so today I'm gonna be giving you guys some organization or slash obtaining your fandom room, more particularly anime room, for the new year, because the new year usually marks the start of the rush of con seasons this year, usually, at least for me. So I wanted to share some of these tips with you guys so you can finally obtain it, because I always get a lot of questions on my room. So let us start. So my first tip for obtaining your room is actually saving money. That's kind of like self-explanatory, but like save money during birthdays, Christmas, or any other holidays where you receive money. Particularly me, I don't really spend that much on clothes, so I usually use that money on anime merchandise, so it doesn't really go on to other items. My second tip is probably seek out your resources, especially with manga, because manga usually varies in price depending on where you shop. Usually it's much cheaper when you buy it online, but the only downside is free shipping, but usually you can get it free depending on how much you spend. And also usually if you have like a half price bookstore or some kind of discount bookstore, they can also have the manga you're searching for, but just seek out your researches. Usually the sites that are most reliable or have like different prices depending on what sells is Amazon, Right Stuff, Half Price Books, Barnes and Nobles, and etc. And the next one is pretty much sales, and as a recommendation, I think with sales you should actually, if you have a Facebook, like the publisher's Facebook page, like Sojo Beat, Viz Media, and all of that, because usually on their Facebook page they announce sales that are happening for a particular series, or even their whole lot of series. Recently I've like bought manga buy 2 get 1 free from Sojo Beat, so they usually announce it on their Facebook page, which I wouldn't have like realized otherwise unless I was like strolling around Barnes & Noble's website on that particular time, but usually I don't, so that's why. Check out your sales and like those pages. A next tip for me is actually buy Japanese or anime magazines. I have a lot of Japanese and anime magazines, even though I can't read them, because a lot of them do come with like freebies like posters, clear file folder, drama CDs and stuff, so you can actually get a lot out of the magazine even though if you can't read Japanese. Like I've gotten like huge free posters and like a ton of fold out posters that I just cut up and posted in my room. And a tip for that is like to go in, because usually the magazine says the freebie on the front page, usually on a small corner of the box, so you can really see it and check the price, because sometimes it might not be as worth it. Like if it's like $20 and you only get like one huge poster, then it might not be worth it. But if you get like a $15 magazine but has like 5 posters front and back, a huge poster, and maybe a clear file, then it's probably worth it and you can get more out of your money, opposed to like buying a single poster from a store or buying the same exact one sheet of poster at an anime convention where they kind of jack up the prices. And my next tip is, I don't really use this tip that much, but go to like a photo printing place such as like Walmart, where they can print photos from the internet, because I did that before, and like it can start up your like poster collection if the resources aren't there. Like example, like you can't buy online, or there's no like anime conventions near you, or Japanese stores near you where they sell magazines. So it's really helpful. And usually, example for like Walmart, they print like the 6x4 pictures for like 10 cents each, and I use that method for my Uta no Prince-sama. Just make Uta no Prince-sama photos, just make sure that they're high quality, because when they print it out and it's not high quality, it's gonna look really fuzzy on the. And also another tip is to make your own items, and this is what that channel is for, so like selfless promotion. So you can always make something your own and DIY something for anime, so that channel helps you out. And yeah, so the next couple of tips are actually tips for anime convention merchandise buying. So this is particularly for anime conventions. So my first tip is to look around your dealer's room before you actually buy something, because the dealer's room usually are one of the biggest rooms. If not, then it's usually the artist alley. But with dealer's rooms, especially if you're going to a big convention such as like Fandom or Anime Expo, a lot of dealers are bound to have the same item you're looking for. So look around for the prices and also ask the dealer if there's tax to them, because some dealers don't do tax and some dealers do tax. So for example, like about like 2 or 3 years ago, I bought this Sebastian body pillow and it was $30, and the dealer didn't tax me, so it was just straight $30. And then I also saw a Grimjow pillow which I gave to my friend. At the same booth I bought that $30 Sebastian body pillow, but I was too lazy to actually go back there, so I found another dealer who had it for like $30 too, but unfortunately he charged tax, so it turns out to be like $33. So I could have saved $3 if I just went back to the other dealer, because it wasn't as far as a walk. So be sure to ask your dealer and just look around before you actually buy something, because the dealer might be selling it for less money and you can buy more merchandise that way. The second tip for anime conventions is, if you're like running low on money, you have the artist alley. The artist alley is where you can get really cheap items, and they're really beautiful. People poured their heart and soul into drawing these things. All of them are high quality, and they don't always just sell posters. They also sell like plushies, pillows, keychains, bracelets and stuff. So look at your artist alley if you're running low on cash. And then another tip is usually a tip that a lot of people use is buy items usually on your last day of the anime convention if it's not on high demand. If it's in high demand, usually buy on the first day, because usually a lot of the sellers do want to bring everything back with them from the anime convention, so they have like buy one get one free, or like they reduce the price, or you can like talk to them and they'll reduce the price, because they don't want to bring all of that heavy boxes of stuff if they didn't sell it. But if it's like a high demand item, such as like, I'm just guessing, like maybe you want like a free body pillow, but if you know that free is in high demand and that's the only one you've seen, or like one of the 3 in the whole convention CC, you can risk and wait for it and hope it's still there by the last day of the con. But usually it most likely might not be there, so just take your chances. But usually, if it's in high demand, then I say buy it on Friday, but if not, then just wait until the last day, because a lot more sellers are willing to like bargain with you, and they are more likely to cut off the price by the last day. And another tip for anime conventions, if there's a swap meet at your convention, go to it. A swap meet is basically like a flea market for anime merchandise, where other people sell what they have for prices, and for their own prices, usually cheaper than, or at least the same exact Japanese price that they like are supposed to be. These swap meets are really magical because you can get a lot of stuff for a little money. Like I bought like 2 keychains and a poster for like $20, even though that sounds like, whoa, that sounds like a lot. If you're used to buying anime merch, that's actually a lot of money that you save, because usually a lot of keychains are sometimes $10 to $8 just for one, and posters can range to like 10 to 15 or 20 at least. So swap meets are really good, because a lot of them you can also bargain with the sellers, because they are trying to sell their stuff too, so they can get money to buy merchandise at the anime convention, or at least get money. My other tip is to keep anime advertisements that they like give out to you, or like usually there's like a table at the anime convention where like all these advertisements are, or like usually with Right Stuff they give you anime advertisements, and it's really helpful because if you don't have posters, these are kind of like the substitute posters, like a smaller one. Usually they are high quality, like especially the ones I get from Right Stuff. They're like printed really nicely and are in hard cardstock, so they can usually replace or at least fill up the space of your room if you're looking for posters. My other tip is bargains and deals. I'm really scared to make bargains and deals with other people. I'm not like, hey, sell me that for like $5 type of person. Usually they just go up to me. But if you are very outgoing and you don't mind doing that, then bargains and deals are really good, because sometimes you can ask them to lower down the price for some reason. They might not say yes, but at least try. Usually you can lower the price if, example, like the figure is not, if you buy a figure and the box is like ruined, but the figure is okay, or if you're buying a whole lot, usually a lot of sellers will say, oh, so I can give you exact change, I'll go from 62 to 60 or something like that. Like, it happened to me when I bought my Hideyoshi figure. I didn't really ask the seller because it was the last one, and it had the most like ruined box I've ever seen because it had like cuts everywhere, but the figure is okay. So when I took it to the seller to buy it, he was all like, hey, I'm not going to sell it to you for $15 because look at the box, so I'll drop the price down to 10, because I don't really mind about the boxes, but if you mind about the boxes, maybe it might not be for you. And also another occurrence was when I was at the swap meet and I bought that keychain and the poster. Usually a lot of these sellers don't want to have they want to have change, and usually a lot of people pay them in coin. I have to get like all these 1s and 5s, so when I was buying those, it actually came up to like 23, but she was like, I'll just give it to you for 20. And another thing is, like, a last tip for anime conventions is that if you're running out of space of posters, keychains from the artist or keychains from the dealer's hall are usually good to like buy, because they're very small and you can practically stick them anywhere, usually your wall, your bag, and a lot of things. So it's helpful to have these keychains if you're running low on space. So now we're moving to the organization section of this video. So I'll start with the organization tips. So the first tip is actually to maximize your space, but don't congest it, because my pet peeve is like a messy wall of posters, like no set space between the posters, or they just stick it randomly on the wall. Like, if you are not bothered by that, I say go ahead, but for me, to keep it more organized and to make your room seem like a lot bigger, maximize your space. Like, don't stick them like randomly on the wall, like I said, or like leave a little space, even like this much of a space, or like this much of a space is fine. But if you're like me and like your posters like are overtaking your wall, then leaving this much of a space is still okay, because at least it shows that it's not like overtaking all your wall, even though it technically is. And also, if you want to change up your room and make that kind of like random kind of feeling, if you want to make patterns, I guess, on your wall, like maybe turn them sideways and make a crisscross pattern or something like that. Just don't overcrowd it with too much. Yeah, just don't overcrowd it. The next one is pretty self-explanatory, is to use like tape, putty, or command strips to hang up your posters. Particularly for me, I use putty, but tape is fine too. Tape is probably the cheapest method to use, however it's like the most, it can ruin a lot of your posters if you want to take that tape off. Sometimes they'll like rip the backing off, so it kind of ruins it. The second method, which I use, is putty, because it's a little more expensive than tape, but not as much. But with putty, you can easily take it off your posters without ripping them at all. And the putty I use I use this kind of putty for posting these posters, because it can stick a lot easier also. And the third method is command strips. Command strips are like these little white rectangles where you can post it. It's like kind of like double-sided tape in a way. But these are the most expensive, but they're the sturdiest ones, and easily can come off because they usually have a tab where you can pull them off. but they're more expensive and they come in a lesser quality. So if you have to hang up a lot of posters, I recommend not doing that. But if you have to like hang up like a few posters and you know you probably aren't going to get any more posters after that, then I recommend more being on to that one. Okay, so the next tip is what I've said before in my anime convention tips, is to actually buy more keychains if you're running low on space. So with the keychains, you can use it to decorate your room using thumbtacks, and you can go even as far to decorate those thumbtacks. And selfless promotion again, but you can use a lot of those thumbtacks, use a lot of keychains to decorate small spaces in your room, and you can also save them from getting dirty if you put them on your bag. So it is actually very helpful, and you don't have to ruin your precious like white Rin Matsuoka keychain, because I have one and I don't want it to get dirty because I know I'm really tough on my bag. So another tip I have is to keep your walls organized. Hopefully your room has 4 walls and you don't like live in a triangle, but like to organize your walls accordingly. Like for me, I organize it usually by anime character and then like real life people, and it just keeps me organized if I don't see like a real life person and an animated person together on my wall. But it's totally to your preference, because I don't follow it always, but at least just keep it some way organized, I guess, so it doesn't like look too distracting, I guess. Like if you have like James McAvoy next to like Rin Matsuoka or like Sebastian, it's kind of weird, but whatever. It's just one of my tips. And another tip is, which is kind of self-explanatory too, is to organize your manga, usually on a bookshelf, but you can always organize it some other way. But with manga, a lot of people usually alphabetize them, but you can also do that, but you can just have it like in a organized section. You don't have to always alphabetize it. With me, I actually do it by how much manga that particular series has. So like if I have 14 volumes, it goes by descending order of how many volumes I have. So like I have a lot of volumes of Black Butler, which like is 16 I think I have 16 volumes, and then Kami-sama Kiss next because it's 16, and then it goes in descending order like 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to those single mangas. But you can also organize it by color, I guess, if you want to do that, or like the author's name, last name, and stuff like that also. And yeah, just organize your manga. It makes it a lot more easier to find what you're looking for. And my last tip is actually take it out of your room if you don't need it. Example, like figure boxes. I know a lot of people like to keep their figure boxes, especially for Nendoroids, because it holds like all the face and stuff. But if you don't really need it in your room, place it into another like storage room or something, because it'll clutter your space. And if it's like a figure box with holding nothing, maybe you want to throw it away. But don't throw it away if you know maybe you want to sell that particular figure, but it just clutters up the space. So you actually have to take it out. Or if there's something like, so, and also if you have a poster that you don't really like, then take it off and replace it with a new one instead of keeping those 2 posters, because then you can save a lot of room on your wall if you do that. Or like if you have, for example, like anime DVDs, like I display some of my anime DVDs, but if you like want to display more figures, then take those anime DVDs out and put them somewhere else, so you can like just bring them out later when you want to watch with your friends or by yourself. So yeah, those are all my tips that I use for actually organization and buying my anime merchandise. I know it's just a few, I guess not really a few tips, but these are personal tips that I've learned to use and learn from other people and by myself also. So I hope you use them next time you go out and buy items. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you really obtain your anime room. And okay, so this is one last tip, I guess. Anime rooms or fandom rooms don't take overnight to accomplish. They take over years to accomplish sometimes, and not everyone has the money at the immediate time to get it. So over years you can obtain it. It's not like one day I want to have, like, it's a goal, next day I'll get my anime room. No, that doesn't happen. It's a year thing, sometimes like decade thing, because my room, even though there's a lot of stuff, it took over like 6 years to obtain, and it's not even, it's like, even though it is a lot, it's not as a lot to other people on the YouTube community, or at least that I see, but usually those take over decades and a lot more money than I can afford right now. So that is, I guess, the last tip to leave you guys off, and thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.